Well, election malpractices have been part of Chadema's campaign and campaign rhetoric throughout the campaign period, some of which seem to have played out today, of course, next saying that those were genuine mistakes. Now, I spoke to the chairman of the East African Community's Observer Mission. Kenyans will know him, former Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, Moody Awuori, about those specific election malpractices alleged as they might be, and started by asking him what the hallmark of this election has been for him and the observer mission that he leads.
I think I have been very encouraged to see that elections can be prepared and started and go on so peacefully. We have been here for more than a week, and we have been talking to various stakeholders, the National Election Commission, the security. We have talked to the parties, and they seemed to be well prepared. This morning and the whole day has shown to us that indeed they were well prepared. Yeah. We were at a polling station a few minutes before opening. By then they were not only there, but all the materials required were there. The voters were preparing themselves and simply waiting for the time to come. So I'm impressed.
All right. It seems to have gone on fairly peacefully in a majority of the areas that we've been to as well here in Dar es Salaam. But for Ubungo being the hallmark of one or two other polling stations in which there were no presidential ballots, as well as seats, parliamentary and civic. As an observer, how do you judge this with respect to whether this is an issue of preparation or it's an issue that perhaps lends itself to more political use, as being alleged by Lowassa and Chadema?
Regrettably, I wasn't there, so it's really difficult for me to make any observation for an area which I did not observe.
But there are these issues that do emerge in elections. How as an observer, do you make that balance between what is fact as being a logistical challenge and what is fact as being one that's instigated politically? And does this make is this something that you consider in your final report?
Well, we don't know whether it has been instigated politically or whether it's logistic. I don't think there is any country anywhere in the world where elections are held and completed without hiccups here and there. Yeah. Because I didn't particularly observe that one, the observation is simply that it is logistic. My observation is simply that as a growing democracy, we want to try and do everything we can not to give one party or the other a reason to believe that things were weighted against them or in favor.
All right. As an observer, would talking to John Pombe Magufuli and the CCM campaign as well as Edward Lowassa be something that you do on a regular basis to ensure that these kinds of opinions do not perhaps filter into the public?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, what happens in Tanzania can happen in Uganda, can happen in Kenya, and we don't want that. This is the reason why we are here as East African community, because we want to observe and we want to see where challenges are, so that in our final report we can say perhaps such and such a thing could have been done this way. We would like Tanzania to learn from those challenges for the next elections. We want the other areas in the community who will soon be having their elections, also to learn from a situation like you have just portrayed.
The tenets of democratic elections seem to be well observed in many parts of Tanzania, although we are in an election cycle as the East African community. In the space of 2 years, we're going to have elections in Uganda, in Rwanda, in Kenya as well. And in those countries, these same tenets do not seem to be respected at this point in time. As an observer mission, what would your mandate be in a situation where there clearly is a disrespect to these very same tenets?
I think as an observer, we have to try and put a lot of emphasis. We observe these tenets throughout, because why are we here as observers from East African community? Is because we want to remove these challenges, because our aim is one, to get political federation. We cannot have political federation if there are differences in the various ways of doing our political matters.
Your recommendations seem more like... Well, that interviewer, Bridge that is may have been, still spoke about a number of issues around this election. Yvonne, lots happening here in Tanzania.